Good afternoon. We're going to call this meeting to order. It's a regular meeting of the New Ulm Planning Commission, New Ulm, Minnesota, Thursday, May 25th, 2017, 4:30 p.m. Item 1 is to approve the minutes from the April 27th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second approving the minutes as presented. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 2 is a public hearing. A, consider the application of Slade Smith requesting a conditional use permit to allow the installation of a special purpose fence on a property legally described as the front half of Lot 7, Block 148, south of Center Street. Street address is 626 South Franklin Street.
Okay, members of the Planning Commission, the subject property is zoned R2, which is single and two-family residence district. Notice of the public hearing has been provided to all property owners within 350 feet of the subject property. The property is generally located west of South Franklin Street and north of 7th South Street. The city's fence regulations are found in Section 9.14, Subdivision 6 of the City Code. The applicant has constructed a 77-inch, 6.4-foot high fence in the front and side yard area of the north property line. The maximum permitted height of a fence in the front yard area is 4 feet. And the section and subdivision number are provided. In all cases, the height of a fence is measured from the finished grade of the proposed location of the fence at each post point. Fences taller than the height limitations are permitted with a conditional use permit. The front yard of this residence slopes from a high point at the sidewalk towards the resident. The applicant has indicated that the actual height of the fence, if measured from the sidewalk elevation, would be approximately 3 feet. The fence extends from near the sidewalk to the rear of the property. The portion of the fence in the front yard area measures 19.6 feet in length. And so if we start next to the sidewalk and we measure to the front of the house, that length is 19.6 feet, and that's the section that's subject to the 4-foot limitation. Beyond that, we transition to a 6-foot,
6.5 foot.
6.5-foot height.
Okay.
The fence starts approximately 6.8 feet from the edge of the sidewalk. The applicant provided the following information on his request. With the fence in place, the residence is still clearly visible. The fence will provide privacy for the family, and the request does not adversely impact surrounding properties. In order to recommend approval, the Commission will need to determine that the request complies with the conditions required for the granting of a conditional use permit. Those conditions can also be found on the back of the application form and include the following. And so I'll provide you with what those conditions are and then the applicant's response. A, that the conditional use will not substantially diminish or impair property values within the immediate vicinity. No, we believe that the improvements we are making, including the privacy fence, will increase the property value. B, that the conditional use will not, under the circumstances of the particular case, be detrimental to the health, safety, morals, and welfare of the persons residing in and working in the area. No, we are simply seeking privacy for ourselves and our children. C, that the establishment of the conditional use will not impede the normal and orderly development of surrounding property for uses predominant in the area. No, the fence simply serves the purpose of privacy on one side of our residence. D, that adequate utilities, access road, drainage, and sanitary facilities have been planned and will be provided. The fence does not affect any of the above. E, that adequate measures have been taken to provide parking and loading space and that storage and accessory structures necessary to serve the proposed use are built. The fence does not affect any of the above. F, that adequate measures are taken to protect against odor, noise, and site pollution. The fence does not affect any of the above. G, the ecology of the area is maintained by protection against water, air, and general erosion. The fence does not affect any of the above. I might note that if staff has time, I think it would be appropriate to perhaps have different criteria for considering a conditional use permit for a fence. In this particular case, many of these items just don't apply. Additional fence provisions, and these are taken from the city code. The term fence means a barrier enclosing or bordering a parcel of real property or any, it should be portion thereof, made of vegetation, wood, stone, masonry, metal, or synthetic materials. The term hedge is included within the definition of fence. The reason I provided the definition is because in the front of the lot there's a row of vegetation, so that is considered a fence in that particular location, and it is limited to 48 inches. A fence may be located within a public right-of-way adjoining a front yard area, so long as such fence is not closer than 12 inches to the edge of any sidewalk within such right-of-way closest to the property. So again, the vegetation in the front of the lot, it's a foot off of the sidewalk, so that is a permissible location for that vegetation. Permitted fence locations. The city's regulations allow a fence within 1 foot of an installed sidewalk. On this lot, shrubbery is currently located adjoining the sidewalk, as I just indicated. This shrubbery at its highest point, which would be 48 inches, would exceed the height of the fence by approximately 1.1 feet. The purpose of limiting a fence height to 4 feet was to maintain an open front yard and front door area. There also is a safety consideration if you have a driveway that accesses a garage. You know, if we had a higher fence height in the front yard area as someone's backing out of a garage, they wouldn't be able to see any traffic on the sidewalk. So that's another reason why we went with 4 feet. And in looking at fence ordinances from other communities, that's a very standard requirement. And then finally, another purpose was to allow adjoining property owners to view the street and sidewalk areas on either side of their property. So besides being able to look to your front yard area, the street and the sidewalks, you also have an opportunity to look, down the street both ways. Attached, you'll find the application, which includes a site plan, Brown County property information, a drawing A, which is a cross-section of the fence location, and a drawing B, which is a site plan. And all of this information was provided by the applicant. There are 2 aerial photographs, and then there are 3 ground-level photographs. Staff would recommend approval of the request with the following conditions: that the applicant will pay the cost to record the permit with the Brown County Recorder's Office. And secondly, that the permit is limited to the location and dimensions of the installed fence located in the front yard area of the lot. Staff would make this recommendation for the following reasons. The request complies with the conditions required for the granting of a conditional use permit. 2, the installed fence has an elevation lower than a permitted fence in the front yard area parallel to the sidewalk. So there we're referring to that row of vegetation. And 3, the topography of the lot justifies a higher fence elevation when compared to the street and sidewalk elevations. That concludes the staff report.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so anybody that wishes to speak on this matter, please step up to the microphone and state your name and address, please.
Hi, I'm Slade Smith. I live at 626 South Franklin Street. When I put up the fence, I guess I didn't mean to cause all this ruckus. I went over and went off the sidewalk, seeing how I know you guys dropped the fence down kind of for visibility, safety reasons. I live on a corner lot. The reason I felt it was nice to have that fence there is that's my only yard, living on a half lot. So I'm kind of turning that into our little privacy spot for our family. Basically, when I went about it, you know, being 3 feet off the road, you can still see over the fence when you're driving. The vegetation in the front, I did 2-foot spots, so when you're driving, you can see through, just in case another oncoming car is coming. Basically, I'm just asking, keep it there so I can have the privacy down there. So, thank you.
Do you have any conflicts or comments, questions, your neighbors?
Actually, I've had a ton of people walk by. They all didn't understand why it needs to be down to 4 feet, and I just explained to them that's city ordinance and everything. Everybody I talked to said it looks nice. They all like it. All the upgrading I'm doing with my yard, everybody's happy with. They constantly have people walking by complimenting all the work I do.
How long has the fence been there?
2 weeks now.
So it's just recently been put up?
Yeah, I got the permit, put it up, and then they came out and let me know that it's supposed to drop down, and then he explained to me how to come and fill out the paperwork, so.
Okay. Anyone else wish to speak?
So the retaining wall, that's all new this year also? Or was that done? That was there and this is just,
Retaining wall was done last year.
Okay, okay.
Yes. So, but all the trees up front, all that's been done this year.
okay.
So.
Yes, question for staff. Did we receive any written comments or phone calls?
I received a call this morning on the location of the fence off the property line, and went out and verified that it's in the correct position per our ordinances.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only one that I received.
Okay.
And I didn't receive any.
Okay.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing, and
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
we have a motion and a second closing the public hearing. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, how would you like to proceed with this matter? I'd just like to make a comment. I was past there today. You've done a lot of work on that. You should be proud of yourself of what you've accomplished in that half lot, so you've done a nice job.
Thank you. Alright. Just trying to upgrade it and make it look nice, so.
Does look very nice.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to grant the variance.
Second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second granting the variance with the recommended conditions from the staff,
Yes, correct.
correct? Rod?
Correct.
Yes. Right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. This will go to the city council on the first Tuesday of June.
Okay.
Recommend that you probably attend the meeting to answer any questions. Do it there. We appreciate you coming here and explaining what you wanted to do, so,
Thank you guys for your time.
yep, thank you.
I appreciate
you.
the city staff working with you also, that, you know, using some common sense and looking at this and saying, hey, it works, so I appreciate that too.
Thank you guys.
It's gotta be trees must have been there.
Well, that's what I figured because
Is the sidewalk that way?
Okay,
because of trees?
moving on to the item 3, consider for approval a simple lot division of Lot 7, Block 1, Prairie Land, First Edition.
Okay. The applicant and owner are Leon Kroll. The street address of the property is 310 20th North Street. Property is zoned I-2, General Industrial District. Subject property is generally located north of 20th North Street and west of North Spring Street. The applicant has an office shop located at the southeast corner of the lot. Storage buildings in an L-shaped configuration surround the office shop building. The applicant proposes to separate the storage buildings from the office shop building. The proposed legal descriptions would be as follows. Parcel A would be the easterly 72 feet of the southerly 86.5 feet of Lot 7, Block 1, Prairie Land First Edition, City of New Ulm, Brown County, Minnesota. Parcel B would be Lot 7, Block 1, Prairie Land First Edition, except the easterly 72 feet of the southerly 86.5 feet thereof, City of New Ulm, Brown County, Minnesota. Lot 7 has approximate dimensions of 185 by 199.73. There are no lot area, lot width, or lot depth requirements in the I-2 zoning district. So theoretically, you could have a 1 inch by 1 inch parcel of property and we'd have to approve it according to our current standards. The lot division would maintain the required setback distances from the buildings in place. The setbacks are 5 feet in the I-2 zone. And the lot division would allow the applicant to sell the storage building. Attached is a letter from the applicant. We have 2 aerial photographs, one of which shows with a dash line where the simple lot division would be between the buildings. And then there are 3 ground level photographs showing where the proposed property lines would be, and then one from the corner of the property. Staff would recommend approval of the simple lot division since it complies with city code requirements. This approval should be subject to the applicant recording the resolution authorizing the lot division of Lot 7 with the Brown County Recorder's Office.
Does this have any bearing on any utilities of these 2 lots if we split them?
This request was forwarded to the Public Utilities Commission, and we received no comments back from them. Do you have any electrical even in the storage buildings, or?
Yes, and that, I talked to Larry Bodden about that, I'd get my electrician and just remove it, and, if I would sell off the storage units, they would have to put a separate meter.
Could we have you come over to the mic and just kind of restate that a little bit, just for the record?
There's power going to the storage units from the shop, and all I'd have to do is hire my electrician and remove that, and then the power that comes through the 20th Street side, the electrical, they would just have to come off of that and put a meter to the building. I talked to Larry Bodden 2 days ago, and he said it would be no problem, so.
So it's strictly electrical, there's no water,
Nope.
gas, sanitary, nothing?
No, gas comes off
On
of,
either property once it's split?
correct. If they wanted water, which there wouldn't, and sewer, that would come behind on the north side of the lot where the utility easement is, I think.
So were the utilities discussed as part of your purchasing agreement or sale agreement or whatever?
There's no purchase agreement right now yet.
Okay.
And I talked to Roger Hippert about, before I do any of that, we'd have to let the person interested in buying know what's going on with all of that, so.
But you don't have a problem separating the utilities from this,
Nope,
each of the building?
nope.
Yeah, I don't have any more questions, okay.
I don't have any more. It's pretty cut and dry. So, I guess I'd offer a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second
Okay,
that.
there's
This one is
no
not a public hearing.
public
No,
hearing.
no
on this
public hearing.
particular
No
request.
business. Make a motion to approve it.
I'll offer a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the request with the condition that subject to the applicant recording the resolution authorizing the lot division of Lot 7 with the Brown County Recorder's Office. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Again, we recommend that you attend, this will just go, we're a recommending board, it just goes to the council on Tuesday, first Tuesday of June.
No problem.
Recommend that you stop by and answer any questions they might have.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Okay, we're getting down to the real nitty-gritty stuff here now, huh? Revision on any of the zoning or subdivision regulations.
Again, it's been rather a slow month, let's just say.
Now, you brought on some additional staff to help with that process, correct?
That is correct.
That is in process?
That is in process.
Okay. Okay, receive report of city council decisions concerning planning commission matters.
Okay, at the May 2nd meeting, City Council approved the amended final plat of the Retzlaff First Edition. The city has, made its or provided its necessary signatures, and so I think the plat has been recorded, but I'm not certain about that. City Council also conducted the second reading of the ordinance annexing the National Guard property into the city of New Ulm. At the May 16th meeting, the City Council received the results of the 2016 Survey of Public Services and Performance Measurement Report. And that is a survey that is sent to 300 people, 300 property owners in the city. They try to have 75 in each ward, each of the 4 wards. And so they allow for responses to specific questions, and then they allow for just also people to provide comments. And they're numerically rated the answers to the questions, and this is the 6th year that we've done it, and the city's the ratings are fairly consistent. Some of the comments are also provide some information. At that same meeting, they authorized the staff to submit an application for a legacy grant to secure funding to prepare a request for proposals to study the needs of the Herman Monument. And as I'm saying that, I'm thinking I just took something that he maybe was going to talk about. I also wanted just to mention one other thing. Recently, both in the newspaper and in other locations, there's been comments about lot and land availability in the city. And from the staff's perspective, I think sometimes there's a different definition of what an available lot is. Some people see an available lot as being one that's got a for sale sign on it, or it's listed on a website, or it's listed with a realtor. And, those are obviously for sale lots. But there are other lots that are also for sale in the community. For example, lots that have gone through the tax forfeiture property. There's no signage on them, but they are, available for development. And other lots are also available, as well. So, in looking at platted lots for R1 and R2 zoned, that are R1 or R2 zoned, we find that we've got inadequate supply. An inadequate supply is considered to be 3 to 5 years worth of the average number of single-family dwellings that are constructed, and we're averaging about 20, I think, for the past 6 years. I looked at the draft of the housing study that's coming out, and they're saying 22 to 27 is what we should be looking at. But using those numbers, we're okay for a couple years. The second issue regarding availability of land for development, I think we're in pretty good shape to be able to serve new subdivisions. We've got utilities that, can be extended to serve areas. And so I don't see that as a major problem. It costs money to extend utilities, and people have to be willing to make an investment to do that. And so there is that part of it. But as far as or location, the property is there to be developed.
Do you have a count on how many lots we have available?
Well, I'll have to say approximately, because what might be a buildable lot to you might not be a buildable lot to me. So I would say that we're probably in the range of 135 to 150. And we also have lots that have been platted that currently aren't served with utilities, and we've got 39 lots that kind of fall in that category in 2 different subdivisions. So,
Okay,
and the number that I gave you as far as lots, that's taking out some lots that, maybe have some development restrictions associated with them.
okay, anything on heritage preservation?
There were no items to bring for the Heritage Preservation Commission, and as Dave stated, we are in the process of trying to write up a grant for a preliminary study of the Herman the Monument structure, and see what repairs need to be done.
Is the structure closed currently?
No, it's back open.
Back open?
Yep, it was only closed for that week, first week that it would have been open on the weekends. There was some decorative brick that had fallen, and we were concerned that it may have been structure, but when we were up there and looking at it, it was just some decorative stuff. The structure itself is in
Okay,
need of some tender loving care, though.
anything else? No further business, meeting adjourned.